Before we get this video up and started, I'd like to let you guys know that I review your bases live on Twitch, so if you need some help, check out the link in the description down below. Alright boys and girls, and welcome back to another Rust building video. This time I'm coming at you guys with a 4 to 6 man base that I know for a fact you are all going to love. Once again, just because the group size doesn't match exactly what you need, make sure you watch the video through to see if there's any tricks or tips that you could steal for your own clan bases. Before we go any further and show you guys inside of the base, let me break down all the costs so you know if your team are capable of farming up for such a beast. First of all, on screen is the total build cost for the entire base. Second up is box amount, so you can visualize that build cost a little bit easier. Lastly, we have the total upkeep that's spread between 3 TCs, 2 externals and 1 main TC, upkeeping the majority of the base. Had a couple of comments in some previous videos saying the tour was too dark, so in an attempt to brighten up things, I've gone ahead and made the sky black. In all seriousness though folks, there's a lot of lights in the base and it's Halloween, so you gotta get in the mood. Anyway, we're starting off with a disconnectable mini Satori, of course, the usual one. Disconnect it easy peasy and reconnect again easy peasy. And from there we can jump inside the gatehouse. And super basic gatehouse, windows to look in, windows to look out, and a spot for turrets underneath. And take a little look and see we've got plenty of space for our furnaces. Of course, we're accompanied by a Widegapped China wall. New large furnaces are looking cool, that fire update is nice. Spots for some large batteries in the compound, again that can be swapped out with a different deployable of your choice. And again, you saw in the cinematics at the start, we have these quick and easy ramps to take you to and from shooting floor. In case of a raid, or if you're just looking for a quick way up and down, they work for that. Heading further around, more battery spots and more quick jump ups to shooting floor. All the Widegapped peaks we can see from this angle, very nice, and again our turrets underneath our gatehouse to catch anyone hopping in the compound. Now we can go ahead and enter our Widegapped China wall, and this is just an extra line of defense. There's no barricades here or anything like that, this is purely to cause inconvenience for raiders. Heading through this door takes us to our mobility chute, and this is just a symmetrical entrance to the base that only leads up to shooting floor level. Doesn't access the rest of the base, we have another entrance on the opposite side that allows us to enter our starter, our second floor, our third floor, and so on. Heading back outside of this, we can take a deeper look at the Widegapped China wall. Here we can see our nice breach peaks that we have staring into the compound, the gatehouse, and the battery section. You can also use these to defend your furnaces before the compound is down. A couple of separated sections where we have our lockers. Nice place to store some loot that's out of the way, away from the base. And great for some rekits, of course. Now we can head through to that other entrance that I was on about, and this one does lead into our starter base. We're looking at the lemon footprint right now, hopefully you guys know what that is. And our TC is tucked away all the way in the back over here, with a total of a armored wall and a metal wall in order to access, assuming they know exactly where they're going. Plenty of storage down here, shotgun traps under the jump up, everything you could need. Second floor is again all about the loot storage. More and more boxes and some furnaces along the side as well. Of course, we're lighting every floor with the campfire because the new lighting update is really cool. Again, shotgun trap under our jump up. This next floor here is all about the bedrooms, so we have a few lockers up here along with a lot of beds. 6 beds in total, which should cover everyone that you'll need to build this base. This is not really a 6-man base, but there are room for 6 beds. In here, perfect place to keep all your raid defense kits, along with some lockers inside of the Widegapped China wall. And from there you should be able to defend a nice online raid. 4th floor, we have space for all the deployables that you haven't seen yet, so could be mixing tables, could be repair bench, research, anything like that. And of course, even more battery spots up here. If you're unhappy with those options in the compound, there's some safer ones at the top of your base. We have 2 different airlocks that take us out into shooting floor, with a window as well, so you can push out to your shooting floor nice and safely. And our shooting floor is a combination of some Widegapped peaks and some free-handed peaks, allowing us to peek back in towards the Widegapped China wall and down into compound as well. Really nice shooting floor on this one, and of course there are 4 quick exits there that allow us to jump down to compound without taking any fall damage at all. Nice turret angles to cover the shooting floor, and some more bits where you can walk back in towards the base to get an even better angle inside the Widegapped China wall. Jumping top of this half wall section, we can see a turret guards, and behind we also have a roof peak up, and of course our roof exit as well. Roof is really cool. I like how this one looks a lot. Couple of vending machine bunkers up here. Of course 15 rockets to open, or 8 rockets to despawn. Then we can jump on top of our half-walled sections that have the backwards facing roofs. These are to allow us to use our roof even when there's a tall raid base present, so we can peek down at raiders that might be close to the compound, whilst being safe from anyone L9ing or M2ing from inside of a raid base. We also have these door peaks off to the side that provide nice angles out the way, to ensure that you can see all the way around from your roof and use it effectively. Venti bunkers again, they're zooming in on those. Breaking the twig closes them up. And you can use these for drone shops or storage. Of course it's a bunker at the end of the day, so you might as well take advantage of that. Anyway boys and girls, that's the tour. I'll go ahead and break down the footprint for you guys now so you can see exactly how much space you need to build the base. That's our footprint, so make sure you're going to have enough room for that before you start building. And then we can go ahead and jump on to building the starter now. Alright, let's kick off the building portion of today's video. Our starter is nice and small, so it's easy enough to put down. And there's plenty of doors on it, so you're not going to get deeped on or anything. TC's behind the single door. We'll wall in the rest of our square. A couple more double doors. And this should be fine to live out for just now. Of course, we're going to expand into a nice and spacious first floor. So of course you can move into that as soon as possible. That's our star base for just now. I'll show you guys how to expand into our first floor. Starting off with 2 triangles, and from there it's nice and clear how we'll expand into our lemon. And in with the squares, and then in between we have our triangles, completing our lemon footprint. Off to the side here we have a triangle airlock for our mobility chute, and directly across from that is our main entrance to the base. Again, a single door airlock with a window. Then we can build our mobility chute, just walling it in, and eventually you're going to want to armor these because it can be a weak point of the base. Directly in front of our main door we have our jump up to second floor, so throw that down. That triangle is going to get walled in, we don't really use it for anything. And then we have our 2 square loot rooms for this floor. Ramps on them for extra honeycombing. And it makes the box look nice and cool when it's slanted. That's how this floor is laid out. From above, we can go ahead and seal it up now. Add in all your floors, of course, leaving out your jump ups. You don't want to accidentally seal them up like I might have just done on that one. Let's just pretend we didn't see that. There's meant to be 2 holes in that roof, you know where they go. Next we'll come outside and we'll honeycomb the rest of the base. Triangles all the way around, then walls on top. And then we can add floors on top of our honeycombing. And you can see I've now fixed that little hole that I forgot. Jump ups there, looking good. Alright, let's move on to second floor of the base now. Starting with our jump up. This is the mobility chute side, so keep that in mind. Just a 2 triangle mobility chute that heads all the way up to shooting floor level. Over this side is our main jump up, so coming from here, we can wall it in and add a door in front. Then making sure that we place our next jump up directly in front again, so coming from down here, jumping up and looking forward. That's where that one goes. And this is our interior mobility. Then we can wall in round and get 3 loot rooms, 2 triangle, then 2 square loot room. Ramps where we can for honeycombing. And of course that last loot room, you're not going to get any ramps in there. Wall in the rest of this floor, add in your doors, and that's how it looks from above. Add in that final wall and seal it up. Again, leaving out our 2 triangles of jump ups. And that's the inside of that floor layer, how it looks. go ahead and wall in your jump up from above. And this time add in a half height floor here and leave the roof off, because that's going to be our next jump up to the next floor. And you can garage door that off for just now. Finish off this mobility 2. Again, a half wall inside. Garage door and seal it up in front. And we'll leave the base at this stage, at this height. Now I think it's time we get some externals down and eventually lead out to compound. Starting off, we're going to do our Widegaps. In total, there are 2 Widegap buildouts and they both come from the single door entrance, mobility side and main side. Doing the build out nice and slow, and we're not changing camera angle, so it should be easy to follow. 2 square Widegap method with a little bit of a build out first. And we're looking for those 2 triangles in front of our door with a gap. They can get upgraded to metal, of course, or whatever you have handy at the time. And remember, we have a Widegap China wall, so it's not as simple as just adding frames. This time we're going to have a door and a window. Triangle foundation leading to our gatehouse with a metal frame on there that's important for carrying across the privilege, making sure nothing decays. Then we'll do a small build out to reach our external TC. And due to the raised height of the gatehouse, allowing for the turrets underneath, we need a half wall then a full wall on our external. Do whatever configuration of doors and windows you'd like to defend your TC, and then join it up with frames. There we go. And you'll need a raised triangle foundation to connect our roof and make the disconnectable operate. Then just reconnect and boom, that's it. Alright, we'll go ahead and finish off the gatehouse on this side as well. Lower triangles at each side. Spot for a turret, windows on top. And that's our gatehouse dusted off. Add your windows on doors on the Widegap section. And then seal the roof on top. And now we'll begin on the opposite side. The exact same build out again. I'll be back with you guys once you're all caught up. Alright, Widegaps are done. Let's do our freehands now. Building out in the opposite corner here with the usual build out of a triangle, then a square, then our low walls. Get a gun out to activate the in-game crosshair, and make sure you place it right in the center where the triangle pieces meet. Get your square. Without moving your mouse, we're going to back up as much as we can. If you mess up, it's okay, just go forward. And build back as we do here. We're going to do this quite a few times, so if you thought that was fast, you're going to see it again. For just now, we're just doing one triangle, so we still have space to freehand this side as well. Really important that you get about the similar height between these two to give your shooting floor a nice and smooth feel. There we go. Checking the stability to ensure that everything's connected and nothing's going to decay. Above 70% is the golden number. And then we can connect those foundations back. Then go ahead and do that on the opposite side and join up all of your Widegaps. square, 2 triangle build out, and you should find everything touching. Now we can work on the Widegapped China wall, half wall in the middle, half wall in the front, to create our breach peak and allow for this extra frame for added stability up to our shooting floor. The 2 freehand sections are walled in and they're used for lockers later on, if you remember. So both of these can be walled in, just like that, roof on top, and throw some lockers in them. Then on this side we're going to repeat the breach peak with our 3 half walls starting off this process. And we'll finish off these last 2 sections here. Widegapped China walls are really useful, so I know it's a little bit more complicated than just throwing frames down. It's definitely worth it in the end game. And boom, that's the baseline down for this. Now we can move on to some compound work, so we can get those large furnaces up and running. From each of the freehand sections we're going to choose the right hand side and do a small build out of 2 squares and a triangle. You can see exactly where I'm coming from, and there's 4 of these in total, making a symmetrical outline from the base. And remember, we store batteries in here, however, could do lockers instead. Then we just join up all of our compound walls. Try your best not to have any gaps. A little bit of alt looking should allow you guys to pull this off, no problem. Some sides are 2 walls high and some sides are 3 walls. And you can join it all up. And if you've got OCD like me, you'll see the final shape that we're looking for at the end here. I'll fly up. That's what I want it to look like, nice and cool like that. Barricade, super simple, small twig build out, placing them at an angle so we cover the middle and the sides. Then on this 1 triangle, really easy, slapping it down like that. And do that all the way around. Large furnaces go in, each corner you can fit 1, and in between these 2 corner pieces you can fit 2, so lots of large furnace space in here, feel free to utilize it. Now we can work back on the main base again. This floor is all about bedrooms if you remember, so each square is going to be walled in with a triangle with a single door in front for our locker. That's a spare locker, and now the rest of these are bedrooms. 3 bedrooms in total. And that's the 4th floor pretty much finished. Let's match our honeycombing now to the main base, all the way up. Sealing in our honeycombing at the top. And we're looking pretty good now. Start working on the 5th floor. Right at the top here is pretty much shooting floor level now, but we do have a little core section. Let's wall in both of our jump ups that are now symmetrically in front of each other. Just like that, both mobility now meeting in the middle. This square gets walled in, and I used it for mixing tables in the tour. If you've got another plan though, feel free to slap anything in there. This spare triangle will get walled in, and we can throw a battery down behind a window. Then we have 2 windowed single door airlocks that lead out into our shooting floor that are again symmetrical. Battery beside that, and the final spot is walled in, we don't use that for much. Frames in the middle and a bird's eye view so you know how this floor looks. Then just floor it all in. No jump ups anymore in the core. In the middle we can add in a frame section. And we'll leave out the rest for just now and work on our shooting floor. Starting off with frames on top of the free-handed sections. These are nice and easy, we're just raising up with frames, floors on top, and floors from main base in the middle like that. Same on this side. Follow along because this part can get kind of confusing now, but you guys got this, no problem. Now that we've done the freehand sections, let's do above the breach peaks. Half wall off the middle frame, windows off the outer ones. Creating a little half height peak just like that. And we repeat that 3 more times all the way around the shooting floor. Same over here. Then in the middle, we can raise that up with frames as well. And it's just a normal window section there, adding in our floors as well, off the wide gap. Then these final squares are off main base, for added stability. Giving us some really nice angles. Same on this side, just in case you missed it. And then those final squares off main base. Alright, windows all the way around. And our roof requires a lot of half-height window peaks, so we're going to be double stacking our windows basically all the way around to create some nice peaks on the roof. Right here we can add in some half walls, single and a double door, that's our roof exit slash roof peak up. And they're matched with double stacked windows, as I was saying before. You can do that to the opposite side now. Half walls, single door, double door, windows on the back, and floor off, creating our half height peak that we'll use from the roof. On top of our free-handed sections, we're going to double stack windows with frames placed in a normal configuration. Finally, half walls on top and floors to create that half height peak from the roof. Ceiling in between with our floors from main base side. And then the same over here. Half walls on top, creating that peak from our roof. Okay, one more section to fill in and we repeat that step 4 times now. Windows on top. All the way around. 4 times in total. And our frames in there, with our floors on top. Next we're going to add in a wall and a frame, just to separate up our shooting floor a little bit more. And still allow us to use our angles. Same on this side. Wall and a door frame. Then we can add in the floors of the shooting floor and they all come from main base, so no confusion there. Now we can start working on the roof. Backwards facing roofs are essentially going to come off of each point, so no confusion there, all the way around. Adding in these temporary floors to allow us to place those roofs a little bit easier. And they come all the way around. And they're just to help defend against a raid base. Next we can add in these little enclosed sections that we're going to use. They're also the beginnings of our windmill towers, but it's nice to have these sections here where you're safe inside the roof. And you can target a specific area down below. These double doors also close the gap on the roof. And you'll need them below in shooting floor as well. If you remember where we have our quick ramps, that's where they line up. Next we're going to do our vending machine, and you need to count out the grills as I'm doing. On the metal floor you can see I'm backing up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then on that 8th grill, slap it down, wall should be blue, and that's what we're looking for. Once again we're going out 8 dots on the metal floor grill. And then you can place your vending machine down with a wall in front. Nice vending machine bunker. Easy 8 rockets added to the raid cost on each side. Then your windmill towers going up 1 high. You'll need to place 1 triangle before the other, just because some stability there is a little bit dodgy. And then finally your windmills on top. Next, come into the compound and braze up 2 sets of frames with a triangle roof on top. And you can repeat that all the way around 3 more times. Finally, add in a siren light and a double door to block the jump, so that only base owners can use this method of getting in and out of the shooting floor nice and quickly. You don't need the siren light, but if you find the jump hard, throw it in. Anyway, boys and girls, once you've done that, that completes the base design. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, then please feel free to leave me a like and drop me a comment down below. This base is a bang, so I hope to see you out there in some servers. Remember, check out my Twitch, the link is in the description, and I'll see you all in the next video. See you in a bit.